Welcome to Discover Marshalltown. I'm your host, Denny Gravenbauer. Discover Marshalltown is where we talk about people in and around our community that tells their story of what they're doing in the community. My guest today, Aimee Deimerly Snyder. And Aimee, welcome.
Thank you.
To Discover Marshalltown.
Thanks for having me, Denny. I sure appreciate it.
You know, I tell you what, you and I have crossed paths, worked on and worked with each other for, I guess, many years.
Yes.
And you're in a position now that I think is one of the most interesting that anybody could really ask for, working at the Veterans Home, one of Marshalltown's largest employers. And why don't you tell the audience exactly what your position is?
Well, the Iowa Veterans Home, I consider one of Marshalltown's hidden gems because a lot of people have never been there. I'm the volunteer coordinator, but that really doesn't speak to what I do. Volunteers, of course, is my focus, and I help schedule the volunteers, help bring them in, orient them, try to find new volunteers, do a lot with that. But then in addition to that, I handle all of the donations, so the monetary and material donations, and then put on about 9 events a year. So it's a fun position. Never a dull moment at the Vets Home. It's a great place.
Well, you know, you talk about those 9 events. How do you schedule those? I mean, how far out do you schedule them? And what's your interest on those events? Are they military backgrounds? Are they, I guess, how do you, what and how do you determine what you put on?
That's a great question. We have, it's varied, the events that we have. So the events that I am involved in usually surround the veterans groups. So maybe the American Legion Auxiliary, the American Legion, VFW, the Elks Club, and all of those groups want to honor the veterans, and that's why we're all there, for the residents. So this weekend I have coming up the UAW Vets Day celebration. Very exciting day. It's a big production. They do this wonderful barbecue for our residents. Then they're having the Dale Menning and the Stardusters band is coming out and playing in the afternoon. So it's just a good time for the residents. They get to go eat something that they wouldn't normally get to eat, then come do a little dancing, listen to some great music, so it's a fun day. You know,
it just seems like, of course, everybody is so military conscious right now, and there are so many people that want to take part and help and to show their appreciation to our veterans. And, you know, you talk about volunteers, but you're also talking about people that want to have programs for them, and I think that is just remarkable.
It is. I mean, we have so many generous people. The volunteers at the Vets Home, I think last year total volunteers was over 800 volunteers.
Wow! And how many hours was that?
I think it was around 27,000 hours.
You
are putting me on the spot, but I think it was around 27,000 hours, maybe higher. But we feel so blessed. The reality is, though, we have 555 residents, so we are always looking for more volunteers. And people think that you have to be physically well, physically active to volunteer. That's not true. We have volunteers come out in wheelchairs, just visiting with the residents, being a friend to the vets.
Just to be a friend, yeah.
You bet. Now, if someone's wanting to be physical, though, they definitely can come out and push a wheelchair. And in that case, I've had one volunteer, she said since she started volunteering, she's lost 20 pounds.
Really?
Yeah, get those steps in.
Get a little exercise
you
too.
Betcha, you betcha.
They, you know, last week we were both up at the Black Dirt Days in Conrad, and one of the highlights was that Bubba that does the Freedom Rocks all over the counties. I was impressed, surprised about the amount of veterans that come up and wanted to just talk to him and basically say thanks to him.
He has done just such a fantastic job, and our American Legion brought him in to do that Freedom Rock. And then the really neat thing is people donated to have bricks for our residents, and we have over 78 bricks surrounding our Freedom Rock here at the American Legion.
And they have their names on?
Their names, their dates of service, and then I think their rank is what it is.
You know, you talk about the volunteers, and that's one of the gist of our show today, is to see if anybody out there is watching that wants to be a volunteer.
You bet.
How do they contact you? And we'll have them put it on the screen.
Oh yeah, you betcha. The first step is to give me a call, and my number is 641-753-4406. You just give me a call and let me know that you want to be a volunteer, and usually I ask a few questions and ask what you're interested in. If you're wanting to work with people one-on-one, do a recreation volunteering, which is one of our biggest areas. And then I'll send out an application to you. I can email it or do snail mail, send it through the mail. You fill it out. I need 3 references and then a background check. Send it back to us, and the whole process takes 4 to 6 weeks. I bring you in then for an orientation, and we just sit down and visit just like we're doing right now. And then I figure out where you fit in.
I guess I'm surprised to hear about the 4 to 6 weeks. So it's just not walk in the door, hey, I want to volunteer, Aimee, I want to volunteer for you today. And I guess this day and age, background checks
Very
and
important.
those things have to be important for
betcha.
Liability and everything else.
You bet. The reason we're there is for the residents. And so we want to make sure that when we're putting someone in a one-on-one situation with the resident, that we have checked them out. Make sure it's not someone who's going to steal from them. Make sure it's someone who won't be abusive. And like I said, the residents are just the neatest part of the vet's home. They are wonderful, fantastic. I always tell people, you're going to walk away with so many stories of the residents. It just warms your heart. And for that reason, you can't just walk in and volunteer.
Right.
Now, it's the state of Iowa, so state property. People can come visit people in the dining room anytime. They can bring out, if they have a dog that's very calm, as long as you can prove the vaccinations, you can bring out a dog to visit with our residents just on the main level. But if you want to sign up as an official volunteer, you do have to go through the process.
I see. You know, a couple different times I've been out there, we've done musical programs and this and that. And then it also was our job to go up and bring the residents down from their living quarters. And you know, and I've never really worked a wheelchair, but they will quite honestly, you know, explain to you how to do this.
Yes, yeah.
And it's I was scared. You know, I didn't know what I was doing.
You're not the only one.
Yeah.
I mean, people are a little fearful about, well, what's going to happen when I'm with that resident? You know, they worry, what if the person gets sick? And I just tell people that resident is just like you, just like me. There's no difference. They just probably don't feel well. You know, they have there's a reason that they're there.
Sure.
And so if you think about that it could be your grandparent, it could be your spouse, it's just a normal person. And especially teenagers are really fun because they never, what do I say? You know, that's kind of the question. And so we kind of go through with them how to make small talk, you know, how to greet someone. And it's kind of funny after you think about how techie they are.
Well, I was going to say, they're used to talking like this. They're not used to talking like this.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's what I was going to tell you. You know, I went up there and, you know, the wife and I, we both took a resident. Of course, she knows how to handle a wheelchair. And I took this gentleman down and we started talking. Of course, I'm easy to talk to, I guess.
Yeah.
But we started talking all the way down the elevator. And he said, now, will you bring me back? And I go, sure, I'll bring you back.
Sure.
You know? And as we were leaving after the program's over with, somebody else got behind him. He says, no, he says, I'm going to wait
that
for
guy.
him.
Yep.
Yeah. And we talked all the way back up.
Yep.
And like you said, it's very warming.
Yes.
You feel like you've got a bond there.
Yep.
And they really appreciate your time, as small as it was, with them.
You bet.
And it's so neat.
We have about 80 residents that are on the list of folks that need visits. And so I tell people it's just being a friend, chit-chatting, getting to know each other. But most of my volunteers will say, I get as much or more out of it than the resident. I mean, I feel good. I feel good for the rest of the day, the rest of the week. It just makes me feel like I'm giving back. And it's friendships that really last.
Now I see, it seems like I see the Iowa Veterans Home buses.
Oh, yeah.
All going everywhere.
Everywhere.
Now, is that something that you help with the volunteers hooking up?
Yep. So what happens is we put together a schedule of activities, and then it's my job to find volunteers to go out on those trips, to go out on those buses. And it's quite the task because we have a lot of trips. That's one of the things that makes the Vets Home great. I mean, you see those buses, usually they're going 2 to 3 trips a day for each bus. And they go all over. They might be going to Iowa Falls to take a boat ride on the river. They might go to Des Moines to an Iowa Cubs game. That place in Conrad is a really popular trip.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. And
does
so,
that place open up special for them?
No, they just go, they let them know when they're coming, and so they have a reserved area, and it's very popular with volunteers as well. One of the nice things about volunteering, we want to make sure money is never a barrier to volunteering. So we do reimburse for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay. So when you go volunteer, let's say you go to that place, you save your receipt, sign your receipt, turn it in, and it just helps take that barrier of money away from the volunteering. So, but recreation is a fun area, and we need a lot of volunteers, and we have a lot of openings right now.
You know, the mornings we've seen them at Hardee's, and we've seen them at different restaurants locally in town. How does that resident, how do they sign up for different places to go?
Yes, yeah, that's how it works. They have a sign-up sheet on each unit. These are the trips we have coming up, and so the resident will sign up for the trip. And I'll tell you, I just want to be honest, this isn't my area of specialty, but I'm just telling you what I know. So they basically will have a lottery. So they try to randomly pick in case they have more residents that want to go than spots. And the rec therapists are fantastic because they do a good job of trying to get those residents involved. Sometimes you've got some people who are a little bit quieter, maybe don't want to go on the trips, but they try to draw them out of their shell, get them to do something that they like. I mean, that's really what we try to do at the vet's home is if there was something you liked when you were at your home, and when you come to the vet's home, we want to make sure you still get to continue to do those things, get to eat the foods you like, get to do the activities that you like, watch the TV that you like. I mean, it's a really important thing for us. But that's how they decide who gets to go on those trips.
I've always wondered that, you know, because you see the different people. Are they always going on the same? Well, you know, and we've seen different ones at breakfast in the mornings and different things like that. You just wonder if it's the same people go to the same place all the time.
Sometimes. I mean, sometimes that resident loves that activity and they always sign up. Now, a Walmart trip is a great example. Everybody needs to go to Walmart. We all need stuff, right? We all need stuff.
We have to take a trip and tour through Walmart.
Yep. So let's say they have more people that want to go than they have room for. Well, then they look and see who went last time, just to make it fair, to make sure everybody gets to go. But that's the kind of thing we need volunteers for, and it's very easy volunteering. I mean, basically, you just push their wheelchair out to the bus, then the staff loads the resident onto the bus.
And I'm going to stop. I didn't notice that because you know, I would imagine that they're maybe more trained to run that lift.
That's just not something a volunteer would need to do. And so that, I think, makes the volunteer feel better too, because it's a little scary knowing that the resident's going in the air onto the bus. So then the volunteer just rides to Walmart. The staff gets the residents off the bus, and usually the resident will have a little list of things they need, and so the volunteer will go around and help the resident shop. But they do exciting trips. They go to the casino. I know next.
Well, I gotta just keep stopping because I remember seeing where they went to the casino over in Jefferson.
Yes.
Holy smokes! Now that's
a big trip.
That's a road trip.
That is.
Now, do you have to have certain qualifications to be the volunteer for that one? I mean,
well, so that kind of things. The way we do that is, let's say we only need 3 volunteers and we have 14 people sign up. Then we try to look at what did that volunteer do last month, just to make it fair, so that everybody gets a chance for those special trips.
Too.
Yep. Yep. But at the vet's home, you only have to volunteer for what you want to volunteer. We don't have any minimum hours, and people sign themselves up. So whether they're volunteering for an hour and a half for a bingo, or they're volunteering for 6 hours for an Iowa Cubs game, it's all up to them. We don't assign them. They pick what they want to do.
Now, I'm going to ask you, how and farther in advance do you get to volunteers?
Right. So right now, next Monday, so that will be the 18th of June, we will be sending out the volunteer schedule to the volunteers. Then they fill out what they want, they get it back to us, so they will be signing up for July. So it's basically, you sign up for the next month.
Well, and the reason I'm saying that is, there's been times when I've called out there and I said, well, we're having a bull rider thing at the fairgrounds, and they said, well, you should have let us know. So
that's different.
A month ago.
Yep. So when we're signing up for activities, so this is on the recreation side of things, the recreation therapists, in fact, they just had a meeting yesterday, and they're planning August right now.
Is that right?
It's 2 months ahead.
2 months ahead.
Yep.
We're just going to keep going here, but it always amazes me how many different functions you guys take them to.
Yes, I figured it out, and I think now I'm just looking at activities that involve volunteers. But last month there was 167 activities, so that's 167 trips or bingo type activities.
So you're basically looking at Well, turn 65 days.
Yeah, it's a lot.
You know, that's a lot of days.
It is. It is. And that's one of the things that makes the vet's home different than your normal nursing home. We have activities going on all the time. They show movies once a week. There's something for everybody.
So do the volunteers get involved with that
Yep.
and wheeling them down to the movie?
Yep, they might
area?
help take them down to the movie, but then they also might be getting them a Coke, getting them some popcorn, you know, handing that out. And then the fun thing is they get to sit and watch the movie. So
I told a story one time about I remember when I was a kid, the most neatest thing, I was in Little League and was sitting or playing a game at the Soldiers Home field.
it's so special.
And man, the grass and everything is just lined with veterans that are watching and clapping. They're enjoying that.
Yes, I tell you what. Well, number one, we have an awesome volunteer, Larry Lemker. And
sure.
Larry takes care of that field, and he does a phenomenal job. He also runs the scoreboard, but it's just different. The Vets Home Little League field, because
It
it's
feels like
kind
a
of down,
stadium.
it
It feels like a
does. You're
stadium.
kind of down in there, and it's so well taken care of. The residents will be up on the rim usually, or they roll down, and it just has a different feel. So I feel lucky that we've gotten to play there, and we just had our last game on Tuesday.
Is that right?
Yeah.
The season's over with already?
Season's over
Wow.
with. So
Is the 13th Street area is how much is enjoyed by the veterans?
oh, you know what? For them, I mean, it just depends because for the residents that can get out, they love to wheel all around the grounds. I mean, we have 150 acres.
And do they go by themselves?
Yes, there's a lot of residents that are just fine going by themselves. So they might go down, just check out the area. Other times we try to take them down when there's an event going on. And it's also nice for their families to have that area so cleaned up and looking so
It looks so
beautiful.
nice down
Oh,
there,
it's
yeah.
so nice. I know the beauty salon down there in Bellish has had some of their gals come up and do services for the residents, which is really nice with nails or hair. And we have, in addition, we have a on-site beautician, so she's there 5 days a week, which is really great for our residents.
So it's now. Are you also work with the people that live in the newly constructed?
Sure.
Housing?
Yes. Yep. Fox and Ulrey.
That's all part of that.
Yep. So the Vets Home is, I mean, the whole Vets Home. So you've got the nursing, and then you've got Hines Hall. So Hines Hall is about 100 people, and that's the residential living. They call it a domiciliary. Those are the folks that can get out and about. They might have a car. You know, they can take care of themselves pretty well. They just have a little medical need, why they need to be there. Then the rest is nursing, and the new building, the ranch-style buildings that you're talking about, Ulrey is the memory care unit, so that would be for dementia residents, Alzheimer's, maybe some psychiatric issues. So there's that building. The other building is Fox, and that's just regular nursing care. They're beautiful, though.
Now, have you been all the way underneath in the tunnels?
Yep, you betcha.
Commandant Tomlinson, she took our group for a tour.
Sure.
I've lived here all my life, and I did not realize that there was that many underground walkway tunnels that you can go to.
There is, and I'll tell you, my first month working there, I mean, there was some
You'd have done a
days-
radio, I'd get lost.
Oh, I would stand there and look at the signs and just be like, I don't know where I'm going.
I bet that would be
Yeah,
tough.
but
to
it's
get.
awesome because, you know, when it's this hot out or it's really cold out and we can get from building to building without having to go outside, that's fantastic. And you say tunnel, but it's really just a really nice underground
Okay.
hallway.
It's a hallway.
Yeah.
It's not a tunnel.
But we call it the tunnels.
Well, it was a tunnel to me because it
Yeah.
just went on, and she about wore us out.
Yeah.
You know, of every place that you can be.
You bet.
Is there any more additions going to be built?
Well, so right now we're finishing the remodel of the DAC building, and it's really exciting. July 26th, they're having an open house at 10 o'clock, and so
really?
that's open to the public. They'll be giving tours from 10:30 to 12. So the DAC building and the Malloy building in the last 3 years have undergone a complete rehaul, a renovation, and so every resident will now have their own room with their own bathroom and their own shower.
And I tell you what, you know, again, some of us that have been there forever think of that like the hospital setting. I've been through there, and I can't believe how beautiful those rooms are.
Oh, they're fantastic, and it's just so nice. It's a dignity issue. The residents deserve
Yes.
their own space. Now, if you are a married couple, we do have suites. So I'm excited for it. The residents deserve it, and it's just set up so well. It's so nice for our residents, and the volunteers get to enjoy it as well.
Sure.
So you betcha.
You know, we talk about upcoming events that's going to happen, but you had the Memorial Day program.
Fantastic.
This year was probably one of the best.
I think it was. In fact, McTV will have a replay of the Memorial Day program coming up here. It was one of the most touching programs I think we've had in a long time, and I think part of that was the Gold Star families that spoke, and really, it really touched your heart to hear the stories of the folks that had passed away, and not just about what happened to their families after, but you got to learn about those soldiers before, what they were like, what their interests were. So it was neat.
The Iowa Veterans Home, Old Soldiers Home, as we called it
Yes,
years ago.
yeah.
It's transpired into a more modern name, more appropriate name, and the battle that Marshalltown had, to get that.
Yes.
Way back when you start looking at some of the history, that's a very historical
1887
place in our community.
Yes.
And we talked about the Civil War, post Civil War, World War I, World War II,
Yeah.
and it goes on and on. Golly, I mean, there's the World War I and not many World War II veterans are left.
Yeah, last I looked, I think we have around 40 of the world.
Left.
Yep, 40 left. And it's just one of those things. I encourage anybody that can get to know a veteran who fought in World War II, please do, because their stories are fantastic and they need to be told, they need to be remembered.
I know Jake Rolla, he does a lot with genealogy, and he I should have asked him today before we come on, but it seems to me that the first veterans cemetery was it where Riverside is now?
I believe so.
And then they moved it to where the campus is now for the Iowa Veterans Home. And so, can you just can't hardly fathom that. You just can't hardly imagine that.
No,
but
I mean,
that is such a history story.
Well, for someone that is a history buff, if you come to the Malloy building, we've got the working cannon.
Yeah.
I mean, it is so cool. And then we've got all the memorabilia from all the different conflicts and wars. And, just the paperwork is there from our very first resident, Amos Fox. I mean, you could spend a long time just looking at all of that. It's neat.
Is that available for the?
Yeah, it's right at. We've got a case, and all the paperwork's right there. So it's it's special to look at, and for a history buff, walking around the cemetery, just looking at the stones, the ages, and it's a cool place. So
what I get a kick out of, again, I've been in there in the past doing the pie auction and stuff, and then the auctioning of the parking spots and different things like that. And to me it's so warm and moving to see the veterans sitting there watching what we're doing.
Oh, they love it.
They just love anything that goes on out there.
Yeah, it's funny because with 555 residents, close to 1,000 employees, it's amazing how fast you get to know everybody's name. You recognize faces, and it's because they really are like a part of your family. I mean, I walk in the morning, and the smell that greets me is coffee and toast. I'm like, who gets to work in a place like that? Like,
exactly.
I just feel so lucky and honored to work in their home. So it's pretty great.
What's some of the things you got coming up later this fall, summer, fall, and into the early part of the winter?
So we've got of course, the UAW picnic coming up. In October, the Elks Club will do their pork roast. So it's an annual event, and it's elks from all over the state will come in. We do a fantastic meal for the residents, just something special for them. We've got a traveling zoo coming, although I can't remember the date off the top of my head. Also, the Veterans Day program, of course, November 11th at 11:11. That is coming up, and then it's amazing for me to think about it, but I hate to say Christmas. I mean, the Christmas season at the Vets Home is really special, and that's one of the things that I do is buy Christmas presents for all the residents. So,
well, Adopt a Vet. Is that what they're calling it?
Well, it's not through me, but it is through the downtown group, and that
is so amazing because they put that out. And they say within hours
they're gone.
Yeah. And I've been there, and we've handed out Christmas presents to the folks, and they really appreciate that. And of course, they're asked, what would you like to have for Christmas? They kind of make out their own little wish list.
They do.
And it's always neat to see their eyes open up when they really get that.
Oh yeah, and they ask for a variety of things. It's so fun. I mean, you name it, and we fill out for every resident a Christmas gift. That's in addition to the gifts that I buy. And then we also have other residents that don't quite qualify for that program, and so we put their names on stars and give those out.
Yeah.
It used to be at Medicap, so I know we'll be finding a new location for that, but that's another, it just feels good. And I'll tell you, when we go out and we buy the presents with donated funds, so donations come in for Christmas, and I'll see a gal wearing an outfit that I bought her. It just really makes you feel good. You know how much they appreciated those Christmas presents, and for them to know that someone is thinking about them, it's very special.
I think you hit on something there. I think sometimes they may feel, there's not
Forgotten.
much life left for me, and
Right.
nobody's here. My family's stuck me in here.
Yeah.
And then when they see young kids coming up for
Yeah.
the Christmas program and see that people actually care enough to buy things for them,
Oh yeah.
it's got
It does. It means
it's got to be healthy for them.
it is. It means a lot. And I think the thing that for our residents, sometimes they have families, but their families are across the country.
Sure.
So they still might talk to them, but they don't get to see them as often as they would like. So one of the things I'm trying to do is bring more technology savvy folks in to help the residents use iPads, use
Now,
tablets.
I
Yeah.
gotta stop you here. Now, you're gonna try to teach an elderly gentleman. I can't hardly use an iPad.
You would be amazed.
But then again, if you could do that, what a whole new world that
Oh,
would be.
because then they can FaceTime their
Yeah.
families.
Oh,
And so
sure.
sometimes the resident themselves doesn't know how to use the iPad, but the staff does. And so they'll set up a certain time every week to FaceTime with the family. I mean, we just do our best to try to bring people together.
I gotta tell you before we gotta go here, Craig's over there looking like we need it. But we used to bring the tractor, we had tractor rides out there.
Right.
Or the tractor parade.
Yep.
And we'd have them on display all day long.
Yep,
And
that
you'd
still
sit out there-
happens.
You'd sit out there in your tractor.
You bet.
And I know, I think a couple of years it was kind of messed up because of construction.
Yep.
But golly, some of the stories those guys tell you.
Oh, yeah.
About back in the day when that's what they was riding.
Yeah.
They used to do this and they remember, they would just sparkle when they'd see those tractors, because that was some of the tractors that they
Oh,
used
yeah.
to use.
Sometimes just that reminiscing is exactly what they need. It's like the medicine that the doctor ordered, just
Yep.
being able to talk about their lives, knowing that people are interested. So,
Well, I
yeah.
tell you what, you're doing a great job out there.
Oh, thank you.
I hear nothing but good reports about the programs
Yeah.
and things that we're doing. Again, kind of a plea, if anybody would
Yeah.
want to volunteer, would want to be drilled by Aimee for to see if you would qualify. I'm sure
It's not a drilling. When people sit down, I always say, I just want to get to know you a little
Yeah,
bit.
sure.
So yes, we would want you. If you are interested at all in recreation volunteering or one-on-one volunteering, please let us know, because we would love to have you.
Well, keep up the good work. And
Thank you.
Well, thanks for coming on. And it's
Yeah.
kind of chilly outside today, but it'll warm up. I'm
Chilly
sure,
outside.
as the summertime and stuff goes
Yeah,
along. But
yeah.
Keep up the good work. And,
Thank you.
And again, anything we could ever do, just give us a holler.
I
I'm
appreciate it.
I'm sure we could help out in some way.
Yeah,
And
thanks,
that
Denny.
gives you a chance to help out in some way. Give Aimee a call. Again, the number on the screen, so you can see exactly if you want to take part in one of the really most heartwarming programs in the Marshalltown area. I think you'd be great. Big thanks to Aimee Deimerly Snyder. I'm Denny Greenbauer, your host, and we will see you next time.